Today we're tackling a topic that can hold a lot of us back. The need for approval. You know the feeling, you're about to make a decision, you're all set, and then suddenly the seed of doubt pops up in your mind. What will the team think of this? Will they support this? What will they say? What if it's the wrong decision? If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. And you don't have to live with this constant feeling of doubt or insecurity when it comes to your own decisions. In a leadership role, you are definitely going to have to make a million different decisions, and you're going to have to face the consequences of those decisions, sometimes on a daily basis. So it's more important than ever that you get comfortable in that zone of not being 100% sure and remove that seed of doubt that keeps you from stepping forward with confidence. In this video, we'll explore some ways that I've used in my own leadership journey to break free from doubt so that you too can be a decisive leader who doesn't need to worry about trying to win any popularity contest, because good leadership is going to require you to make some fast decisions and to move forward with confidence even if you don't 100% feel it, and you don't want the fear of disapproval to hold you back. So we all want our teams to be happy and we want to be a well-respected leader, but having a constant need for approval can really lead to delayed decisions, watered down ideas, and a loss of team trust. So how can you be that decisive leader who's not afraid to speak up and make a choice even when it's unpopular? Well, let's just rewind for a couple of seconds. Do you know why you seek approval so much, or why you feel the need to have others approve of what you decide or what you say? Often it's quite fundamental. It actually stems from that need for belonging, which is a core basic human need, as we want to be accepted by our peers, our friends, and our colleagues. But sometimes this can verge on being unhealthy if we allow that to steer our direction. It can lead to anxiety, indecisiveness, and even resentment. So how do you shift gears? The first step is to build your own inner compass. This is about building what you need yourself to be able to be sure and confident in your own decisions. If you know for you what really matters, and this really stems from your leadership values, it can really help steer your course. If you aren't sure or need a bit of help about how to unlock your own true sense of leadership values, or your sense of what is really important to you, I've linked a video on your screen which is about unlocking your leadership style, so that you can go back and watch that. Now the next tip could be a little fluffy for some of you, and I'll admit it doesn't come that easy for me either. So I have my own version so that it works for me and I can do it and not just immediately dismiss it as being touchy-feely nonsense. But I do it because it actually works. It's about acknowledging your wins. Some will call this self-appreciation, but I don't. I'm going to call it, I'm just quickly reflecting on a few things that I've achieved in my work recently that reinforce that I know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to leading a team. Now, I only include the word hell because it makes me feel a little bit tougher when I'm talking about this touchy-feely stuff. So if I'm presenting my team with something that requires me to make the final decision, I start off in my own head by mentally checking through something that I know that I've achieved that actually got me results recently. So it could be something like, well, we achieved our monthly sales target last month, and part of that is because we put this strategy in place, which I was involved with. So yep, cool, I know what I'm doing. I know this will work, or at least I'm pretty sure that this is the right way forward because I've achieved this and this. It's not a big exercise. I don't generally write it down. It's just something I go through in my own mind. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Nikki. I've been in leadership for 17 years and have gone from leading just 2 people to leading leaders of large teams. And I would love it if you could subscribe to my channel to help keep me motivated on my journey. Oh, hang on a minute. Is that me asking you for your approval about what I'm doing on my channel? Potentially, yes, but I'm still going to ask. Thanks. So for me, I am really clear on my leadership values. I know from doing my own unlocking my leadership style exercise that my core values are around honesty, fairness, trust, and integrity. And so I know in my head, okay, last week I made this decision, which helped move our team forward or helped me unlock something for an individual in my team. Then with my mindset right, the next step is being really sure on the clear direction that you have to move forward. This should already be in place. This shouldn't be something that you're having to think about before you pitch something to your team as a decision. This should be something that you've already got set up. You all know a really clear purpose and what your vision is. So it could be something like achieving outstanding customer service. Then it's layering on that direction around the decision that you're making. So deliver outstanding customer service and improve customer response times from 6 minutes to 2 seconds. Yes, I realise that unless I'm leading robots, achieving this within 2 seconds is somewhat unreasonable. But this is an example, not an actual metric. Then when you know this, when you know what that overall direction is and what the concrete goal is, you layer that decision on. You consider the decision that you need to make. Perhaps you're weighing up hiring temporary staff versus the robots. If that were the case, I would weigh up the pros and cons of each of those options. So a pro, the robot doesn't need performance management because it's a robot. Great. The temporary staff are temporary, so they don't require a performance review. Great. Con, the robot is so expensive it makes your eyes water, etc, etc, etc. Get real clarity on where you think you will land and what you want. Then articulate it to your team. But instead of thinking you want agreement from everybody so that you can just get on with it, consider it in terms of seeking their feedback, not their approval. So you're really in the mindset of gathering intel or information from them that you might not have considered, not validation. You can then use the feedback that they provide to refine your strategy or the actions that you want to take. You don't need to rewrite it entirely based on what they provide you. It's really just to seek that additional information that you might not have that could change the direction of what you want to do. But you know the overall outcome that you want to achieve, and that won't change. So if the team all got together and they present you with option 3, which is no robot, no temporary staff, let's just stay at the customer response time of 6 minutes that we're already at and do nothing, then we can all have longer lunch breaks and enjoy our lives. And then you just laugh at them and walk out. No, just kidding. You actually have to consider what they're proposing. And remember that it's okay to disagree. Everyone has a different perspective and a different opinion. And it's always good to hear these opinions and these perspectives because they can sometimes give you some great ideas for doing something that you hadn't thought of. But you don't have to take on what they're coming to you with as something that is the final say. Listen respectfully to the feedback and weigh it up. Perhaps it is something you haven't thought of before. I mean, maybe, just maybe, the 2-second time frame is unrealistic and you could relax it a little bit, but still reduce it from 6 minutes. So requiring no robot and perhaps spending slightly less money on temps. But whichever way you land, the important thing is to hold true to your own knowledge and experience and the direction that you know you want the team to go in. Now, if this all sounds really easy and straightforward, I've misled you. As one thing that can be guaranteed is that the best laid plans, particularly when they involve people, will always go awry. You'll need to do a tweak. Maybe it's a minor tweak, maybe it's a major overhaul. Anything relying on people can be relied on to be changed. So the important thing is to own the course in terms of the direction and be transparent with your team about said direction. The why is really vital. If people understand why you've chosen to go a certain way or how it aligns with the overall direction and the anticipated outcomes from that direction, they're much more likely to buy into it. Now, if things do go awry, Don't feel stuck in being inflexible in what you've decided. You will need to readjust your plan and potentially completely redo it, and then start that cycle again of thinking, what's the big direction? How does this align? How does this fit into it? What are the pros and cons of each of the decisions that I'm weighing up? And then go back to your team for feedback. Take it on, listen respectfully, potentially adjust slightly, but stick to the overall direction. I think the game changer for me was actually getting that real clarity on how each decision I made was based on where we wanted to go or what we were trying to achieve as a group. And that really made me think about things in a completely different framework, because then it was really easy for me to justify to my team, well, I really need to make this decision because if we're going to do this, this means that we can move forward in this particular project, which is what we all want to do, blah, blah, blah. It just made me feel more confident in making those hard decisions, even when I knew they were unpopular. It meant that I wasn't seeking validation from my team, but I knew that, hey, we're going in this direction. We all know that that's the direction and that's the goal, and this moves us towards that. So we're going to take the risk and we're going to do this. And if they disagree, I've heard you, I understand where you're coming from. This is why I've landed on this particular way, even though it's different to what you think. This is why. So make sure you're really clear about giving a really good rationale around why you've chosen to do things a certain way. But overall, be really confident that you do know what you're doing. Think about those wins or achievements that you've already had in your career or to get you to the place that you are now, even if they're just little things that have happened week on week, to really give you that confidence boost that you do know what you're doing and you do know what you're talking about, and you don't need anyone else's validation to do it. Don't forget to celebrate the success or the wins that you have along the way. So when you've made a decision, make sure you continue to close that feedback loop. Go back to the team, say, look, it's been 2 weeks and this is where we've come. This is what we've achieved. Or, look, it's been 2 weeks, we're not seeing quite what we wanted to yet. We are going to hold the course for another 2 weeks and revisit, or we're going to revisit it now and we're going to tweak it. But whatever way it is, make sure that you loop back. It's important that your team feels like they're on the journey with you and that you're not just making a decision, ploughing forward, and then there's a void of nothing. Now, that exercise that I asked you to do at the start for step 1, don't dismiss it as the fluffy stuff. It'll help you get through when you do make a mistake. It'll just remind you that actually you're not doing a bad job. Sometimes mistakes happen, and one mistake doesn't need to slow you down. So if you've already got those little wins that you can reflect on in your own mind, they just help you build that internal confidence and keep you going when it does get hard. The important thing is that you aren't letting others make decisions for you, and you aren't letting their disapproval of a decision hold you back. And if you really want to dig into really building your leadership confidence, watch the video that's currently linked on your screen for more confidence hacks for your leadership. And thanks very much for watching.